Alright lads, so today we have a very funny situation on our hands. So if you know what we are talking about, back in February of 2022, so only a couple months ago, we did make a video on the channel called ICHIGO's skill does not work. And if you don't know what we are talking about, essentially the skill and increased chance of inflicting a status summon against power attribute hollows that Spirit Scientist ICHIGO does have. It doesn't work. And how do we know this? Well, we did a lot of testing. It was also brought to my attention through a lot of different comments and also a lot of people who are sharing their thoughts in the community saying, listen, this Spirit Scientist ICHIGO who has Frenzy +2 with the increased chance of inflicting status summon, he is not proccing said status summons as much as he should be compared to someone like Noel, for example, who also has an increased chance of inflicting a status summon, but only with Frenzy +1. The numbers aren't adding up. So I went ahead and did some testing, right? We tested out ICHIGO's SA3 100 different times to see how many times he would proc a status summon, and then we compared him to 3 other characters. A character with Frenzy +1 and also an increased chance of inflicting a status summon. We compared him to a character with Frenzy +2 with no increased chance of inflicting a status summon, and then we compared him to another character with Frenzy +2 and also an increased chance of inflicting a status summon. And the numbers literally line up. Even though we only did 100 tests, and technically you could say we should do more, the 100 tests, in my opinion, was enough proof to show that ICHIGO's skill was not working. Realistically, ICHIGO should be getting a very similar number to someone like Nini, for example. Instead, he was getting less than that, he was getting less than Noel, and instead he was getting a number very similar to someone like 6th Anniversary Aizen, who we all know doesn't have a skill with an increased chance of inflicting a status summon. So that right there, in my opinion, was enough proof that this character skill does not work, and therefore the character is broken. A lot of the reason why you would even summon for this character is for that particular skill, and it isn't even working. And the bigger question was, when did this start happening? Was it just since his release? Was this character never at the power he should have been from release? Which is kind of crazy if you think about it, and it turns out that actually might as well be the case. And I'll explain why very shortly, but when I made that first initial video, again, back in February, I was expecting at least a response from Caleb, but since then, radio silence. We haven't received a single message or confirmation that the character was bugged and has been fixed. Even after I made a video spreading the news, even though a lot of you lads also spread the news on the Discord, still to this day asking, what is up with ICHIGO? They have done nothing. And today we found out something new. And this discovery was actually brought to my attention from Hiken. So Hiken DM'd me, told me about it, and yeah, this is super funny. So, the skill increased chance of inflicting a status summon against power attribute hollows, the skill that does not work, is actually incorrect. Instead, what it should be saying is increased chance of inflicting a status summon against technique attribute enemies. So he does have Disabler. He does have that increased chance of inflicting a status summon, but against the wrong enemies. He does it against the enemies he has attribute disadvantage to. This is so dumb. It's not obviously supposed to be like that. It is supposed to be against power enemies, but for some reason, whatever reason why, I'm not sure how this has actually happened, Caleb have made it so it's against technique enemies. So if you take out this character into technique content, you will notice is that he's going to be inflicting status summons a lot more often compared to just attacking power enemies. And we did test this. Shout out to Emmy, by the way. He also made a video on it. He was the one that tested it because I personally don't own ICHIGO, and for the most part he did 43 attempts using that SA3. So the same strategy that I did with my first initial test back in February, he did 43 strong attacks, and every single time ICHIGO inflicted a status summon. So at least to me, I think that's full confirmation that the skill is still not working, and instead it's working incorrectly. It's against the wrong type of enemies, the enemies that he has a type disadvantage to. So yeah, I guess I'm just making this video to spread awareness once more that the character is still bugged, and hopefully Caleb can fix him so he can actually be usable, because this is outrageous. That's bad. ICHIGO itself is not like a super amazing character. He's kind of, you know, just okay, right? But one of the main things why you would actually want to use this character and the main appeals for this particular character is that increased chance of inflicting a status summon, and it's never worked. So I do believe there will be compensation due. Are you going to get a full refund on the summons that you spent on him? No, but you're very likely just to get like 25 orbs and they're going to call it a day, which I think is personally fine. They don't need to do any super massive compensation, but yeah, in case you weren't aware, ICHIGO's still bugged, and he has an increased chance of inflicting a status summon against the wrong type of enemies. With that said, I'll be glad to enjoy the video. I shall see you guys next time. Peace.